Because there's no big presenter.
Thanks, appreciate it.
I've got it about 6:40 anyway, so
Okay. Like a poker game. Who's got the cards? Thanks.
That's you, Ashley.
You're right, there was no excuse.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I looked at the.
Here, did you want to go official number? Okay, so for that right beginning. So, Jerry. Yeah, that'd be great. 6 minutes. Yeah.
You're interested?
So just do that right after, or right at the beginning. I've explained the rules.
Thank you.
To Terry.
Okay.
Email, 3 meetings a month, and, you know, I mean, a year.
3
meetings a month, yeah. To be up on the you only have to present a year. 5,000 cards. And we had talked about how much you have to know or not.
Yeah, that was my
Not a
biggest fear.
Yeah.
Cause just moving here and learning about lakes and learning about Watershed.
Okay.
We're beginners. I got my history. Oh, are my passengers right? Okay. This is good.
Thanks for the call, Cynthia.
You tell me when you're all set.
I am just about at
This is close. 8.
Oh, those are overnighters. That's not the night. They start. Okay.
Okay, I guess we're all set. So we'll get this meeting started. Meeting of the Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership, and just for the sake of quick introductions, we'll go around the table. So most of us are familiar faces, but some new ones. I'm Dennis Looxcie, chair of the MLWP.
Oh, I'm Cynthia Price, secretary of the MLWP.
Jean Wyrick from Muskegon.
And I'm Craig Warwick.
Oh, yeah, okay. Name's, that's it? Yeah.
That's it.
Good enough. Name's Dan Mills, interested citizen. Anyway, I gonna explain this stupid earwig. I got a camera set up in the back, but I dropped it when we were in Lansing here a couple of days ago, and so the lens is kind of screwy. So I got to set way out there because it won't. Anyway, so I got this. I would like to record it for a couple of reasons. But anyway, that's my name, Dan Mills. Hi.
And you're with?
Occupy Muskegon, among other things.
And that's why you're recording it?
Do you have a problem with recording?
Well, I think if you're going to record it, I guess it's a public meeting. You can't.
Keep your clothes on. Keep your clothes on.
Just wondered, you know, what for.
If you like, I can go on and elaborate.
No.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Good for you.
Wayne Grossbeck, Muskegon River Watershed Assembly.
And I'm Greg Bond, chair of the MRWA, as well as a member of the MLWP.
Roger and I occupy Muskegon.
Cindy Ackerman, I'm a member, but also on the planning commission for Layton Township.
Sharon Baker, I'm the new Stephanie. Got older real quick. I pass my card around and make sure that above my phone number that it's got one that's handwritten because I wasn't going to print them again. Didn't make any good fiscal sense to me.
That's right, saving money for the state.
Saving trees.
That's right.
About Sharon, though, she's been very familiar with Muskegon Lake years ago when I was at the Conservation District, and the group was called the Public Advisory Council back then, not the Watershed Partnership. She was our contact with the state back then. I think they called them AOC contacts back then, and the coordinators. But anyway, so Sharon's somewhat familiar with us, so welcome back, Sharon.
Glad to be back. I'm glad to be with you guys, but I don't know about the workload.
We'll try and keep the workload off you.
And I'm Terry Sabo, County Commissioner. I represent the city of North Muskegon, which encompasses the entire north side of Muskegon Lake, and also this beautiful township of Layton, which I also reside in, and also Fruitland Township, and then a little chunk of Dalton Township of US 31. I'm also the Port Advisory Committee Chair for the county as well. Port. Yes.
Port, Muskegon Lake.
Mark Evans, I'm the treasurer of the Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership.
And I'm Kathy Evans, and I staff the Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership, and I work for the West Michigan Shoreline Regional Development Commission.
I'm Kim Arter. I'm the supervisor for this beautiful township. And also, I'm the vice chair for the MLWP.
All right. Okay, now we've got introductions out of the way. Mark, do you have a treasurer report?
I certainly do. As most of you are aware, we have two accounts. We have an account at Windsor Dick. It's mostly for staff time for Kathy. The balance at the beginning of the month was $29,449.96. We had no income or expenditures in this month in that account.
I didn't do anything.
Because she's using the money wisely and using other grant money to use her time right now. So, we remain $29,449.96 in that account. In our Muskegon River Watershed Assembly account, we began the month at $7,160.82. We had $200 in donations this month, or in March. We had $2,000 in expenses, which went to the Bear Lake, our match for WoodNet for the Bear Lake.
No, we didn't have to do a match. We ended up that we don't have to do that.
Donation to GLC.
Was it the...
Perceptions research.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. My bad. Okay, $2,000 for the Great Lakes Commission, and leaves us with a balance for April 30th of $5,360.82.
Move to accept.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
And I made it to another month.
Okay. Where did we have our previous minutes? I don't see them in there, so maybe we'll just get them out of the way right away. We had a couple of them.
I got a question on the second page where it says brief update.
On March 13th or April 10th?
March 13th.
Okay.
Sorry.
Second page. What's your question?
Kathy said that bids are out for engineering and construction? Or the engineering only? I believe?
That's true.
Okay. So I missed something.
Nope. No construction yet.
Okay.
And in addition, I made a copy of the people who attended, but I couldn't find that copy. I know I gave you the original, so maybe you could look over the list of who attended, and I'm pretty sure I have your guys' name on it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
W, no. Okay. All right, and there are a couple other people, in fact, there's one that's in there twice. So, I mean, that, and I also would like you, Kathy, to check to make sure that the ones I said were members actually were.
Now, the sheet that you gave me or I took at that meeting, I didn't scan that and send it back to you in time for this?
I thought I made a copy. I think I made a copy.
Yeah.
But I didn't, I just couldn't find it.
Okay, so I do have the original then.
Wrong, and I had actually typed as people went around and gave their introductions, and that's where I got this from. So it's just bound to be wrong.
Okay, I will double check it. I do have that original, because it's on the great big sheet.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right, exactly.
Okay. So should we maybe not totally?
Well, I mean, if we can just look it over and the rest of it hopefully is, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you know some corrections, let's make them and approve them so we can.
Yeah, just approve them with corrections.
Yes, I make a motion that the minutes of March 13th and what's the other one?
April 10th.
April 10th. Be accepted as amended. I just want to point out that for years, Cynthia gave me a hard time about taking such lengthy notes at meetings. And we have a page and 2/3 here.
But there's a lot of information.
But I will let
Actually, it
that,
was more about the accuracy than it was about the length, Wayne.
Yes.
Sure?
No taken.
You want to get into the motion?
You know, I'll second Wayne's motion.
Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as what can we say, amended?
Yeah.
Say aye. Or nay? Aye. Any opposed, same sign? Okay, let those be approved. Moving down the line quickly. Kathy, do we want to take new members in, just for the sake of time?
Do that now
That's very-
instead of later?
Yeah, that might be
I mean, at the business end of things here.
good, especially if Terry's got other meetings.
So we have nomination maybe for that, or kind of a motion, how we do that generally?
Mm-hmm.
So who is it that wants to be members?
Terry and Jean? No, not yet.
I'm gonna.
Wait, okay. So I would like to move that both Terry and Jean be accepted as new members of the group. They've been attending meetings on a regular basis. I move that they are new members.
Do I have a
We
second?
have a motion, second?
I have a
Are
second.
you having?
I thought I just
Craig
sent you a
second.
check, I didn't know I needed to be approved.
Oh, you should be an official,
Yeah.
yeah, you just supported us with cash.
Yeah, you need to be on the roster, for sure.
We really want you to be a member then.
Yeah.
We should put
So we
Cindy
should
in
have
that,
Cindy
amend that
Ackerman
motion.
in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amended motion, apparently?
And you
And
come
then
to meetings too.
Yeah.
The only rule is, you know, you have to come to at least 3 meetings, like business
A year.
meetings where we discuss,
Okay.
you know,
To be able to vote.
A year.
like area of concern stuff and the beneficial use impairments and things. I think if people just came to presentation type meetings and we didn't discuss what we do as delisting the area of concern,
Okay.
that might be a bit of an issue, and we've never really discussed that in detail, but I think that was the intent behind attending meetings, was that you would understand the area of concern, the beneficial use impairment thing that we're trying to, you know, to correct, and so that's all. 3 meetings a year, it's not a lot.
So, Mark, it would be you that would need to amend, and the seconder
I
was
would like
Greg?
to amend that to include Cindy Ackerman.
And I'll second his amendment.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
All those opposed? None? Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome to the membership.
He has a lot of benefits.
Lots of benefits.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Work with
You are the committee chair for.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't say the length of terms. Forever, I'm afraid. Okay, Muskegon, do we want to jump right into the Muskegon Lake spring cleanup updates, Kathy?
That's fine, I don't know who wants to give the update. I know in my head what we picked up pounds and miles and that kind of thing.
That's the stuff we saw the
Yeah.
physical evidence of it,
Yeah.
and it was great, but I was curious how the numbers shook out.
Well, we had 2,103 pounds of trash approximately. And that wasn't just trash, it was also recyclables and things that could be repurposed, like glass and wood and metal. And some of that was repurposed and collected by artists and others who wanted to do that. We also cleaned 12 miles of shoreline, including portions of Ryerson Creek and Ruddiman Creek within that total. And even on the north side of the lake this year, we got over to the Conservation Club area. So, there were probably at least 12 locations cleaned and team leaders. And then we had
150 bags.
150 bags. 150 bags.
60 volunteers, was it?
80 volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 35-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
People down at the sand dock got
Cold out there.
sandblasted.
Wow.
Yeah.
They had to leave.
Yeah.
They got sandblasted so bad.
Oh, it was bad.
But my group of 7 people got 35 bags of garbage by the farmer's market.
Oh, I can believe
How about
And
that.
have a United Way in that little stretch.
Yeah.
7 people, 35 bags.
Which is Ryerson Creek area.
Yeah.
And there was plenty more too, and we just didn't have time.
Did you give your volunteers T-shirts or anything like that?
We
We
gave
didn't.
one. The
Waved
union,
at 'em.
the union gave out some
You
things.
drive by.
Yeah, I have one with
and-
Rosie the Riveter on it, But no, we
Yeah.
don't have like a Muskegon Lake giveaway type thing, otherwise we would.
But
But you know that Michelle Brugnot can get you Muskegon Lake specific things, like fish measurers or
Yeah,
bobbers.
that's true, yeah.
With
We'll
your,
take those.
yeah,
Yeah.
you need to
We'd
just-
love to have some of those
Yeah.
for giveaway to the volunteers.
Well,
That'd be great.
let's get them next year, because I don't want to sit in
Yeah,
my
no,
office for a
don't-
year.
yeah.
But I know Michelle, she's with the health department with the
But she's
state.
got a whole bunch of things, and she can make it specific for your watershed.
This year,
Oh.
she's gonna start making them specific for our watershed. Right now, they're generic, the ones that I have, the bobber and the tape. 'cause-
But she could have just put,
Well, they're Eat Safe Fish, but she has a Great Lakes Restoration Initiative grant now, where they're gonna come and do some Muskegon Lake.
yeah.
Wonderful.
But even those other bobbers could have even had that already.
Oh,
It would have been easy.
Oh.
Easy peasy.
okay.
Well,
I
that's
know
good
from
news.
the
That'd be
group that
nice
I
to have.
had, I had part of that group from Lowe's, I think there was
Yeah.
6 of them, I think, that split off with my group, and all of them were asking questions toward the end of it. How often do you have other things we can get involved with? And so it was just really, it was a good outreach for that purpose too, because there was a lot of them, they were just happy to come out and do it, and looking forward to other opportunities. So I was kind of pointing them towards Causeway and Veterans Park with some of the stuff coming up there too, so. But they all not only cleaned the sites down where we were, but they all jumped over to Harbor 31, and I don't know what the bag count was on that site.
So that was all in Ryerson also then?
Yeah, it was high.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of farmers market, construction debris blew across the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff by the farmers market was historic stuff that had blown over that hill and was there for quite a
It
while.
had to
Some of
been
it
a-
came down the creek also.
There had been 1,000 of just the little grocery plastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were everywhere. I don't know where they come from, but they were everywhere.
I do.
Incidentally, New York just banned those.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah, there was a lot of, but were any generalities drawn? I mean, I saw a lot more litter this year, in comparison to the overall, and I saw less tires. Was that kind of general through it?
Yes, we didn't go back up into the watershed of Ryerson Creek to get tires though, so we didn't really attempt to get as many tires as we did last year, but in general on the lakeshore it seemed to be the case, yeah, less.
I only found one tire on Ryerson.
And how did the poundage compare with last year?
Very close, actually, not counting the bunch of tires that we got in Ryerson, because that would have overwhelmed the weight.
Right.
But compared to just the more of the recyclable trash and that, it was only off by, it was 2,103 this year, and it was 2,000 something last time. I don't remember, it was less than 3 though.
So last year we had a little bit more, because of the lake levels being low, we had some more boundary debris, slag,
Heavy
brick.
stuff.
Yeah, right.
There was some of that, but
Now, Catherine Spytek is compiling some more of the details and all the unusual items that we had listed immediately after the cleanup, and she will have those on the Muskegon Lake Watershed Partnership Facebook page. If it's not on there today, watch in the next day or two, and she's going to have the outcomes with more pictures and everything on there.
Yeah.
We found a tractor in Cart Creek,
A tractor?
a really old one.
Oh.
Where?
It was there- in Cart Creek, which goes into Deer Lake, and that would have been, when they were cleaning up a bunch of beaver ponds. It was like beaver pond after beaver pond, and it was down in that.
Huh?
I'll be
It was
darned.
really old one, you know, the kind with the metal lug?
Wow.
Greg probably knows about that.
Yeah, you will.
We had
got nothing in Cart Creek.
we had one tire at Fisherman's Landing, but, when we started, we had 75 or 80 years worth of tires.
Yeah.
And now we just get
Occasionally.
Yeah.
This
the
year.
new ones.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And, makes a big
That means we're starting to catch up on the historic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
We gotta start
That's
somewhere.
great. That's
Yeah.
great.
We had one down on the Foundry property that was right at the edge of the shore, and with the fence and the trail and everything, it's like, you know, nobody trucked it in, so all we can figure is the ice had to have pushed it in, because we know there's been some that have been in the shallows, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
with the ice shift this year, it must have pushed it right up off the bottom and skidded it up onto the shore, 'cause it was within 3 foot of the water's edge. So it's kinda interesting, you know, the lake's doing its job.
So do the ice shelves come in from just Muskegon Lake, or are they coming in from Lake Michigan?
Muskegon Lake. Yeah, that's with the size and the fetch that winds, when they change on there, when the ice does break up, it'll literally push those sheets right up onto the shore, and usually our prevailing winds are gonna push it easterly, but not all the time. I think this year, Well, we got nailed with a strong east wind, and so the folks down, what's the site that was cleaned up to the shoreline? The first one, Kathy? Private property on the far end.
Harbor Town?
Sandbox, we call it?
Down by it, what was the,
Edgewater or Sandbox?
what's the part, the family name? I can't think of them off the top of my head.
We did the, in their front yard.
Very front yard, and they had to replace the stone later because it was not the right size.
Oh, Sartorius.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
I
cleaning
think
garbage.
they ended up having a huge amount of ice that went their direction this year.
Yeah, yeah, and I went down there and checked that site, because we did some habitat restoration there, right next to it, the Elkhorn. Well, there's Sartorius, we did some work, and then with a different grant earlier, and then we did more. Anyway, the Elkhorn site is fine, as far as ice. We did some pretty fancy engineering
Yeah,
there.
that was special engineering.
Yeah,
Anyway, the ice did not harm it.
That
I
ice
went down there,
really do a
it was
number.
possible after the ice, and I checked it.
Well, I noticed the day, I don't know which meeting it was, but I think it was Noah's meeting, when we were in Grand Valley, we had a really strong east wind, and if you looked toward Hartshorn Point, the east winds were, it looked like a break wall with the splash going about 20 foot in the air. And I remember at the Habitat meeting, we talked about, do we want stone or do we want all native plantings, and
Had to do some stone when you were
Stone
out
was a
there
really
in the
good
lake
idea.
a little further, yeah. When we were in pockets,
Well,
well, I don't want to get off the
Phil.
subject, but yeah.
oh, if it was, yeah, still will hold up better than, no.
It'll never hold the same, it was made of soil. Wow.
Okay.
That's why you put rock around it.
Right. It's got so much iron in it, Greg, it's not going anywhere, it's molten metal.
Sam's got it.
Anyway, it was good to see that the design worked. Did we have any other cleanup efforts other than that? That was the major. Mark, yours is coming yet, right? Good Grand Trunk?
Yeah, but do we want the update on the work week, where we did that, or?
Yeah,
Well,
Cynthia, you worked that one, didn't you?
I did. What kind of update do you want?
I don't know, we didn't go to it.
Okay, nothing happened. I mean, it was not horribly attended, but we were not in a very good position, and I did actually talk to maybe, I'm going to say, 5, 6 people about Muskegon Lake. I mean, the display was fairly effective. But the one thing I would like to say is I have the display in the back of my car for anyone who wants it.
Yeah, well, I have everything in my car for Grand Trunk for tomorrow right now, so it's going to be hard for me to take it tonight. But I would like to get it back.
Well, I could probably put it in my car and get it at least to our house.
Okay.
Here,
We can do that.
I can put it in my
Dump a bunch of
office.
stuff off it.
at least that way, because I see Kathy enough, I can get it back to her.
Well, I
Yeah.
can throw it in my car.
He said,
Okay.
Oh,
I-
okay,
I
okay.
we
had a
store it
bunch
in
of
our
stuff
garage
there.
anyway,
Oh.
so.
Was the
They'll take
this
it.
was Reese Puffer's school, right? Or
Yes.
was it sure?
Yeah.
Was the venue good, bad, indifferent? I mean, what was,
Um,
because Merrick seemed to be well attended in the past.
well, Merrick, I would say it was a little bit better attended than Merrick.
This was
Slightly.
better?
Better
Yeah,
than Merrick?
Slightly, yeah, just a little
Okay.
bit, not a great deal, but a little bit. You know, a lot of people had, stuff specifically for kids. We didn't really have that. I just don't know if they would have gotten out that
Well,
far.
if we'd have had
anyway.
some bobbers, we'd have been all set.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I actually had stuff to give away,
I gave you some jelly beans to cut
yeah,
out.
nobody wanted the jelly beans.
Really?
No, they did not want the jelly beans.
open things.
Right, exactly, that's why, yeah. I know, and some of them were even like wrapped, but then because the jelly beans were in there, they didn't want that.
Yeah.
There's probably at the bottom of my car, if you like.
You can keep those.
No, they probably still in.
You probably want a big
container,
ball of jelly
but there was
beans
no
by now.
cover for it. But yeah, it was worth doing. I mean, you know, I'm glad we had that presence, and then of course you get to, you know, talk to the other participants, to the other exhibitors. You know.
Well, thank you for.
But I do, you know, I mean, I would say probably next year is, being the third year, is probably going to start taking off. And the place hasn't been determined for that yet.
Well, thank you for taking that on.
Thank you. Kathy, with the Shoreline Stewards Habitat Restoration Maintenance Training?
We did that, you were there. We had about 6 people come.
Yeah, I was thinking a couple more than that, but.
Maybe it was 8, 6, 7, 8, yeah. And someone who actually teaches biology at Muskegon Community College, Thomas Dunn, and he is going to develop a program where the college students can go to one or two of the locations through the summer as part of their class to help with making sure invasive plants don't spread and, you know, doing some other things. He's very interested in the native plants and biology and all of the ecosystem. So he'll you know, create some type of a curriculum activity related to that. So that was nice to have him come along.
Yeah.
Thought it actually worked out real good with, was it Dave from the county?
Lee. Yep.
Lee from the
Lee
county. That worked
yeah.
out good because of him being able to lead a crew to treat a lot of the invasives and stuff, so he was able to get some direct training on that, so that was good too.
Yep. And the county has a habitat management plan because for all of the restored sites that we did under the NOAA grant, we developed a landowner management plan. And so I hadn't had a chance yet to work one-on-one with Lee to go over the plan in the field, but he does have, you know, a copy of that management plan. So if he's read through it and knows what to do, you know, this was a good chance for us to get out in the field and say, oh, so here is the black locust or the honeysuckle, you know, or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was also nice having it just prior to the cleanup event, so we could identify some things we didn't know were out there, like that goose netting and stuff that was all over.
Yeah, we don't know who did it, but there was a very long, hundreds of feet of goose netting. I would call it, you know, a white plastic square kind of net that you might put up temporarily to keep geese from coming, you know,
Sure it was geese
onto lawn.
netting and not something that they catch fish in?
No, it was like in stakes along the shoreline, but all the
Oh,
stakes had
stakes.
fallen down, and it was,
Stakes were gone, it
It
was
was all
in
wound
stretched
up.
and rolled. It
With
was
the-
probably less than maybe 3-foot wide rolls, but it was twisted and.
Where was this?
along the whole south shoreline of the lake near the old former tank farm and
site.
Redwood Creek and, you know, that stretch.
A lot of
Do you
it.
think they were trying to keep geese off of a property? Because I think you have to have a Fish and Wildlife permit to do that.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody had a permit to do it, and
I would say it's
We
just a
don't know who
resident down
did it,
there
but
wanting to keep them off
it
the
was-
bike trail.
It was a
That's what
hazard.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Now, where was this again?
Down in the old Amico tank farm site, the BP site,
Lakeside.
lakeside, between Rudderman,
it's
the mouth of
probably
Rudderman.
somebody who uses the trail a lot, a resident in the nearby area, who thought, you know, this is a technique to keep geese off a lawn, so let's keep them off the bike path, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I'm
not
guessing,
good.
something like that, but they didn't go down and remove it,
Yeah.
and, so, anyway, we got it out of there.
There was a lot
Oh,
of
you
it.
got it out of there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we removed it during the shoreline cleanup, so.
That's part of it.
Weighs almost nothing, so all it is fluff, but it's that kind of fluff that doesn't biodegrade, so,
And get things tangled up in it too.
yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
worst thing.
Yeah.
That hurts penguins. That's a private joke.
Okay, good.
Okay, good, keep that private.
It can really hurt turtles though, because they can't get to the surface.
Yeah.
You're right.
Sure.
Anything would've got tangled in that stuff. That was pretty nasty
There's
netting.
a lot of
Or
it.
a
Yeah.
swimmer.
Yeah.
This would have been an area where the turtles should be increasing too, because of all the restoration right there, and with the lake levels up, your planned wetland is finally wet.
There's a woody structure there, and all kinds of good things for it.
Well, they need a pole to get through a woody structure.
No, they don't. A lake level.
We've had a discussion about the root bases that Kathy left in that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's talking about the root wads.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're
Pole.
beautiful, they're a beautiful thing.
all right.
That's what you normally would see.
Okay, I took notes on all that.
Mark, you want to touch base on
Get out into
your...
a wetland more often, see.
Yeah,
if
Grand
it's
Trunk,
normal.
that's
the way
tomorrow,
it's
so we
supposed
have,
to
we're still doing that.
So tomorrow.
be. You opened it up, you know, they just-
Send me a photo when the turtle makes it up there though, Greg.
They're under roots.
Okay,
I've seen them on those body roots.
go ahead.
They're like-
Okay, Bart.
So tomorrow is Grand Trunk Restoration Day, starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're probably gonna have about 100 people, a whole bunch of elementary school kids will be there. We're gonna take out invasives and put in some native flowers, and we're gonna clean out the birdhouses, and we're gonna pick up garbage, and we're going to rebark a lot of, or mulch a lot of the stuff that's been put in before and just spruce everything up. And we're gonna take more broken concrete out, we're gonna do all kinds of stuff. And hopefully the rain's gonna hold off for us, and we'll be serving hot dogs around lunchtime. So if anybody wants to come down and help out, and we can always use, if you have that many elementary kids, it's always nice to have a bunch of adults. So if anybody wants to come down and take on a couple of those youngsters and show them the right things to do, it's good for everybody involved. So some kind of, trying to figure out whether it's 22nd, 23rd, 24th year. We kind of seem to have lost track somewhere, but it's around 23 years that we've been doing this. So and it's went from a junkyard to a nice park down there now. So we're not picking up historic garbage like we just talked about. We're now just picking up a little bit of fisherman's trash and general little stuff like that. So it's come a long way, and like I said, there should be about 100 folks down there tomorrow. So if you want to come out, you're welcome to come.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, can I make a suggestion? Whenever you do any of these cleanups, when you're walking out with the kids, have a plastic bag in your pocket. And then you can just stop nonchalantly and pick stuff up and stick it in. As you're walking, don't say something. Then one of them will ask you, well, why are you doing that? Whenever you're doing kid stuff.
Well, we have teams that do different projects, and one of the teams are going to be strictly a garbage team.
But I see what you're saying. All the other people who are leading other activities could have a garbage.
Right.
Because we might find a little something here.
Yeah.
And then they'll just see us doing that. And
Yeah.
instilling that ethic kind
That's
of
a
cleanup. Yeah.
lead by example.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Let's see, remediation and restoration progress updates. Okay, fish and wildlife habitat restoration.
Right on time, too.
Yeah, we're
You're doing good, Dennis.
right there.
Kicking you.
You're right there in spite of it.
Well, Dennis, come.
The Muskegon River Veterans Park restoration.
Okay, so we talked about this at previous meetings, but we've been in quite a rush because of the presentations and other things. So I just want to, reiterate that the EPA has decided to fund habitat restoration both at the Muskegon River Veterans Park and the mill debris, some more Muskegon Lake mill debris locations. The funding has not yet become part of the agreement with NOAA and the Great Lakes Commission, but there is no problem with it. It's just takes time. And I talked to the Great Lakes Commission today. They had their meeting with NOAA this morning. They are going to incorporate an amendment to their agreement, which currently NOAA and the Great Lakes Commission, their regional partnership agreement includes the St. Mary's River, and it includes the Buffalo River and Muskegon Lake. But because it's a cooperative agreement, what happens is on an annual basis, they amend it to include specific projects. So in Muskegon Lake, it will be Muskegon River Veterans Park and the mill debris. So I talked to EPA today too. They're going to see if they can't make sure it's speed along the process so that NOAA gets the money sooner. I called them and I said, well, I understand NOAA doesn't have the money yet, and we're doing our local work here, and if we want to do some work this season yet, we
You got to start.
Yeah. So our AOC coordinator there, Mark Loomis, who most all of you have met, he is talking to his boss or other people at EPA to make sure that the process is moving along and not getting waylaid somehow. So Terry, you've been really involved in that project and getting us pulled together and making it a priority for the county. The county owns the property, and I know you have another grant that is starting this season that we plan to coordinate with as well. I did meet with Leanne Mikesell from MDOT, and I saw her today, and I met with her and Loopy and Dennis last week too to discuss how we would coordinate. And I understand the city of Muskegon is the actual grantee for the MDOT grant. And that grant will do lighting, bathrooms, parking lots, things like that.
Mostly in the north end.
Okay. And so we will coordinate with that because we don't want to have an issue where we, damage a brand new parking lot or something, and, we want to do our heavier work before they come in and put new parking lots in. Otherwise, we'll have to, fix those nice new parking lots. I'd rather be working on them now while they're still just gravel and, So we're moving along as fast as we can get it to go.
I should clarify, a majority of the work will be on the north end, but like the lighting, that's gonna be throughout the park. So that will definitely change the look of it, the way it is right now, from that. So, and there's gonna be some new parking lots constructed. I think there's gonna be some other ones that are gonna be redone. They maybe just reconfigured a little bit better.
And there's that campaign that Bob Skolnick is doing for the, camp.
Yep, and that's,
Which isn't very much money. It's nice to see a campaign that's not very much money.
yeah, it's not, and we've actually met our goal already, so, which was $12,000.
Okay, I won't give that.
We can still give though, and,
Maybe
but if you'll notice, one of those cannons, next time you drive through there, if you haven't already noticed, one of them looks like it's off a little bit now, it's not sitting straight on like it used to be, and, that's because, myself and Commissioner Skolnick and, Commissioner Marv Engel went out there, because we're gonna try to move that the cannon off from the island. We had the tractor out there, we had everything, so we got going on it, last week Friday, and we finally got it broke free from where it was, and I'll tell you what, we moved it about 3 feet forward and 3 feet to the one side, and we could not get that thing to move anymore.
Oh, my gosh.
So now it's kind of sitting at an angle, but I think what it did though is it kind of inspired some others to get involved. I think Ericsson's are going to get involved now.
Yes.
I was gonna say, if you haven't talked to Steve, talk to Steve.
So things are brewing, so next time you drive through there, you can just give a chuckle when you see that cannon sitting beside you. Knowing that we wrestled with that thing for all afternoon, and we got it moved about 3 feet.
Well, the last time I chuckled, it was with you and Mark out there doing a bathymetric survey with the rod and a little
I'm glad one of us was chuckling.
in the water and pea soup,
Oh, that water was,
And-
it looked like this right here.
And I didn't know if it was the toxic kind of, algae or not, but I've heard since then that we do have the algae, the microcystis or cystin, but it's not the toxic
She
form
was
or
real
the
good
toxic
yelling
thing
from
isn't happening
shore.
easily.
Hey, you guys, a little farther out there. Oh,
Right into that toxic
It was
algae.
nasty.
And then if you run it to GVSU, somebody there could probably tell you.
Well, they've been doing sampling already, so we're pretty sure, unless there's something really special and unique about right in that spot, that
There was
we don't
something pretty
have
special about that.
And I've been looking at Bear Lake, Muskegon Lake, and some other ones in the area, and so far we're okay.
Scary.
You see it, but
It
it's
was
not.
nasty.
Yeah, it looked like paint.
It did, it looked like somebody poured green paint on top of the water.
All right.
So fish passage improvements, and hydraulics and everything, hydrology and wetland restoration and all that stuff, that's what the MDOT grant, the NOAA grant will be for. So that'll greatly improve, habitat, water quality, and the aesthetics of it too, so that people can come in there and maybe they'll catch fish now, and it won't be, so hard to catch a fish on that side of the river, and it won't be, hopefully as poor of water quality either.
Kathy, what's the number again in grants that they're looking at for Veterans Park? Wasn't it
Well,
2.5?
yeah, what we'll probably end up having, and we're working on budget details still, is probably a $5.5 million budget overall for the mill debris work and Veterans Park. Our earlier budget estimates for Veterans Park at the high end was $2.5 million. That doesn't mean we're going to have $2.5 million just for veterans, or that it will cost that much. So we will do competitive bids and all of that kind of thing, for engineering and for construction. So we'll see what our costs come in at later.
But they're standing in line for upwards of 5.5 for the two projects combined, and everybody seems to be nodding the right way.
Just waiting for it to come through, waiting for it to come through.
EPA approved it, and NOAA wants it, and so does the Commission and Windsor Dick,
And then the
so.
other grant is
Another $1 million.
another $1 million there.
That
For the
was
lights and all
strictly
that.
for veterans.
For that part, for the lights and that's only for veterans.
And that grant is actually the City of Muskegon's grant,
Yeah.
because MDOT could only fund them, because I think being the something to do with the transportation, the city, I don't know why it was, but I know the county owns the property.
Yeah, well, the county
City of
owns it, and
Muskegon-
then there's a three-way working agreement between the county, the city of Muskegon, and the city of North Muskegon.
It may be because the City of Muskegon maintains it, that they're the grantee also,
That could be,
maybe.
and I honestly don't know why.
And I'm guessing that the lighting portion is just within the park, and it's not anything having to do with the street lighting?
They're taking the street lighting out.
Oh, okay, because the street lighting's falling down
They're
rapidly.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I noticed
they
that
are.
too, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost daylight, there's another pole down.
We want them all to fall down because
Well, they're
they
coming
only
down.
wanted to remove a certain amount of them, so we're hoping that a lot of them fall.
Okay.
We don't want them there.
Yeah, and when you see the ones that are broke off, look at the base, they're just rusted right through.
Yeah.
So the ones you're putting in, are they so that it doesn't light up the night sky, or they just?
Right, they're gonna be the LED,
Oh,
LCD,
yeah,
one of those two.
Yeah,
And it's gonna actually shine more into the park.
Right.
So you can
Yeah.
actually see what's in there as you're driving through. So, it'll really light it up, there's no doubt about it.
It'll look a lot better.
Good plan.
Yeah, I wanna say there was 80 some lights that were gonna go in, lights and poles and everything into the park.
Well, I'm glad to hear it's
And
replacing
they're gonna
the
extend the sidewalk the
street
rest of the way,
lighting.
Yes,
right?
yep, the
This-
sidewalk will be.
Sidewalk will go on the north side, so the sidewalk will go all the way around.
Yeah,
That's
Right
good.
out.
Yeah, it's out of the
I had one of
sidewalk.
those and took one out years ago.
The restoration area might be.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing, is this is, what it's done is, and I know this organization's done an awful lot, over the years to gain exposure. I'll tell you what, this is, this thing with the Veterans Park has gotten the attention of everybody, and people are talking about it, and it's just amazing.
I know the Lions have
Yes.
been leading the charge for quite a while and doing
Mhm.
something on the north side there, and then the veterans groups themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
And
good.
that causeway, there's a lot of cars that travel through there on a daily basis. I mean, if
Yeah.
anybody here from the north side remembers a couple of years ago when they shut it down to redo it, remember what a mess that was? I mean, that just shows you right there how many, how much we depend on it. And I can't remember the number of cars they said travel through there every day, but it's a crazy amount.
Yeah, I don't know, if you lived on the north side, you changed
Oh.
your workday schedule.
Yeah.
If you could change it, you
Yeah.
changed it because
Yeah.
it wasn't
Traffic.
fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Bear Creek Hydrology.
The design for that's a grant that, is through, NOAA to the region where I work, not through the Great Lakes Commission. We have an engineering design grant to complete that work, and, the engineered design will be done by December this year. We have, yet to do our final landowner meetings to approve the design. We've had several meetings with landowners and taken their input, and so probably in July, we'll want to meet with the landowners, that's not just the Wilbrants who had the salary flats before, but also the folks that live in the condominiums right there, and some other landowners too. So, and the county, because the county has actually purchased a portion of the Wilbrant property too. And they're in the process of negotiating acquisition of additional property there too with the folks, Wilbrants and the condominium owners. But we're working with all of those landowners on the engineered design so that once we get that completed, it'll be what everybody wants to see done, and we'll anticipate using GLRI funds to begin construction and restoration there in 2015.
This should bring us real close to some of our
Yeah.
goals on the AOC.
Yeah, those two projects, along with whatever we do with
Bosma.
mill debris and the Bosma projects, are,
That would
these,
definitely put us a little
if
bit
we
over
did
the-
all 4 of these projects that are on this list right now to the fullest they could possibly be, we will more than achieve our goal. But we don't like to have all our eggs in one basket because things change, landowners, site conditions, whatever it is. So we're tracking on our BUI tracking table, how many linear feet we're, softening and removing hardened shoreline. We're tracking the acres that are turned into emergent wetland or open water wetland and so forth. So, we know that we will achieve delisting or removal, I should say, of the loss of fish and wildlife habitat BUI and also the degraded populations BUI once most of the work on these are done, if not all, we'll see how things go. If we can do more, for example, the Bosma project, that's a huge wetland that was farmed, and there's a dike, that separates it from the river, so that could be maybe only a portion of it gets restored. I don't know, But I think by the time we get to that project, we'll be very close anyway.
I'm glad to hear that one massive rain we had after the melt-off didn't blow their dike, because...
It was a lake. it was just, you could see water all the way to Getty Street, North Getty, you know, it was like, their dikes were overtopped and everything, but they're still there.
But they're intact.
Mhm.
Yeah, 'cause my fear was if they blow their dikes,
Mhm.
I don't think the family will
Then
rebuild
I
them.
guess it
or
got
turn the pump.
restored, not the way we would want it to.
Yeah,
though.
you haven't got the phosphorus out
Yeah,
of
we're
them yet.
dealing with that, and, you know, potentially arsenic and,
Yeah.
abandoned oil wells and all kinds of goodies.
Yeah, so I think, we dodged a bullet on that melt off because those rivers came up.
Mhm.
Could have been worse, but it came up with all those rains, that flashy flow that come down, but I'm hoping, that whole deal comes together with the county before, we lose a dike. Because that would be, and I think, do you still have Ducks Unlimited and those folks still want to?
They are
Participate?
doing some preliminary engineering there. They're doing the topographical survey and the phase one assessment.
Okay.
That's all that they are doing as far as I know. And,
Well, at least there's some groundwork being
Yeah.
done to
Mhm.
prepare for it.
Mr. Chairman, I have to go. Thanks for having me, and
Thank you,
I
Terry.
look forward to our next one.
All right.
Take care.
River Salary Flats, that's all?
yeah, that's really all. Mill debris, we're just doing more design and some removal as well.
Any specific areas with the mill debris removal?
We'll do some more in the lakeside area where we got the wood before, when we, where they reused the woods and did the Pigeon Hill tables.
Yeah?
We already have the permit, the design in place for that, so we'll be able to tackle that this year. And then, on the north side of the lake, we're looking at Snug Harbor, Block 58. We're looking at Upper Bear Lake, just below the Salary Flats. There's a spot with a lot of sawdust,
Oh, yeah.
coarse
Oh, your
sawdust
house.
still.
My backyard.
There's a lot of stuff.
And a
There's
couple
a
of
lot of stuff
reference
down
sites. Rick Radisky with Water Resources Institute will be doing the benthic surveys for us, as he did on the design that we're still working on, actually. And we'll do another competitive selection for a consultant who will go out there and do some initial survey work and some cores and things like that, so we can identify where the most of the wood actually is before Rick goes out there and does transects for benthic surveys. And then what we'll do is we'll take the information about how much we have as far as density of wood and what the effect is on the benthos, and then we have a ranking system. So if it falls between, say, this 40 and 70 number, it's moderately to severely impacted. So then we can judge, well, is it worth removing this stuff or not, after we do all of that. So it'll be like a 3-year project. It's not going to happen all in 1 year.
See, Bear Lake may pose an odd situation compared to all the other places you've done it because of Bear Lake Bridge. The typical marine equipment's not coming in.
Can
to
you,
the lake.
We did notice that.
What's
We
that?
went and looked at it.
Yeah.
Your dredge get underneath that?
Not without dropping the cab.
You gotta take the can off?
It has to, it's made to drop, but you have to unbolt things and drop it, but that's,
Is that high?
yeah.
We figured that bridge, there was like fall 15 foot, at least 15 foot clearance.
Well, I haven't been under it in a while, but I remember it as a kid going under it, and I know they did some work to it, but it was always duck your head if you're on a fly bridge.
There is, Horton Park is a small, but it's pretty shallow.
Have to crane it in.
Yeah, yeah.
There are
They
some small-
may run mats out and do it, trucks in from the dike, the old dikes from the celery farms too.
Crane what in?
Dredge.
Dredge equipment,
I'm just not
marine
sure what we're
equipment.
talking about here.
We looked
Okay.
at it with the
Trying to
EPA
figure it
folks and the Granite Commission folks where the funding will probably come through, and, so we looked at that, because there's no sense in doing a lot of work somewhere where you don't have access. So.
Yeah.
But the investigation's gonna take place first.
I mean, it could probably be done same time as Wilbrandt's if they could do it logistically.
In an ideal world.
Right. Just because the two are gonna have to work off the lake somehow.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Okay. Thought I had another thought with that, but I don't. Unless there's something that fits under your fish and wildlife habitat.
I think we were just coming along really well with the Fish and Wildlife Habitat VUIs. We have the projects all lined up that are needed in order to hit those targets, which of course are our area of concern targets. These projects don't mean the end of needing to deal with fish and wildlife habitat restoration, in our area, but they will get us to where we need to be to remove those VUIs.
I was thinking on the mill debris, because we have piloted it, if you will, to see if it, when's our next fish count or something that's gonna give us a little barometer if we're working or not?
Mostly we're doing the benthic survey to do the mill debris. The fish spike nets that we did, that was a little bit different. That's part of our BUI criteria for fish and wildlife populations as a whole lake look. But as far as what we're doing with the mill debris, we're looking more closely at really we're counting success based more on the benthos rather than fish populations.
The criteria, what they call it, the fish, IBI.
The spike nets for the IBI, Index of Biotic Integrity.
Thank you. Carl Reed's Muskegon Lake's already met the criteria.
I'm looking at more of a, grassroots level.
But
Are we seeing improvement in the habitat as a result of taking it out? I imagine there's gonna be I don't say a dead period, but a quiet period before it gets better, but I just wondered, what are we watching for to make, to be able to say, hey, this is good?
The assumption is that if there are bugs there, something will come to eat them.
And if there's plants, things will live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, each restoration now is more of a site-by-site analysis of success, and then we have the benthos survey that will be done post-restoration by Grand Valley. And, I confirmed that this money is not money that has to be spent right away. It's 2014 money, so we can, extend it and do those things if we have to. And as long as NOAA, and they usually do, want us to do post-restoration monitoring, scientific monitoring, in addition to what we already do with our engineers, because we always make sure that we have, don't have plant mortality, or, we always make sure that the restoration was successful, at least immediately after we do it, that it met its goals and specifications. But yeah, NOAA likes to see a little bit more of a scientific monitoring, and they're here kind of for the long run. We went to that meeting at AWRI, Dennis, and the blueprint, that NOAA has decided to, place upon us.
I liked it.
Kind of means that they're gonna, they're making a commitment to do more research here and working with universities and with GLERL.
What was that technically called? I don't know what the name of it was, but it was 2 days of scientists sitting in a room and sharing their
what are we doing?
Elevator speech.
Yeah, NOAA and GLERL, Great Lakes Environmental Research Laboratory, and then Annis Water Resources Institute and other universities have been doing a lot of research on Muskegon Lake and the lower Muskegon River. So we had probably 30 different researchers and scientists from all over the place from those organizations give their little kind of poster snapshot, 10 minutes or so of here's what the study was, here's what we did, and the next one came up.
Here's where we're taking
and they
it
just
too. I mean, it was
around.
good stuff, but it was
But they learned from each other
really
what
high
they were
level.
doing. They weren't talking,
They're from all the universities. Yeah.
I've never been here before, so I may be out of order with this, but you mentioned Snug Harbor, and I was just wondering, are there some plans to dredge Snug Harbor? I know this year the water's out, but I know last fall it was pretty low for the boats to get out through there.
Did you know if they did they do dredging last year?
I
at the
don't know,
state
I
park?
don't believe so.
Okay.
There was a proposal, I think, to do it, but they
Right.
never
A lot
happened.
of the marinas did dredge last year. They were able to get permits.
The governor had a big push for money
Yeah,
to get to everything.
Right.
and I don't know whatever happened with that.
But I don't think that was on it.
Hartshorn got in on it with the city of Muskegon. City of Muskegon did a few sites, but I don't know.
Well, everybody didn't get funded.
Right.
And it was the ones that got funded appeared to be the ones that had already had some design work in process.
Yeah.
So Snug Harbor may not get any kind of.
Well, the mill debris might be off from the ramp. I don't know where that will fall.
Yeah. Well, we won't be doing it this year, that's for sure, but, because we have to do the study and investigating first, and see problems before we would take anything like that out.
Yeah.
But as far as the launch at Snug Harbor, that's a state park, and I would just say,
Right.
call the
So
state
it's
park
state-
headquarters
all state
and see if they're
Yeah.
dredging, or if they need to dredge this year.
I know last year he had to go out and then hit a channel and go
Yeah.
a little left, and
You
it was like kind of tricky.
It's very shallow along that side of the lake, I know.
Yeah.
I've launched there with a small boat, actually with a dinghy once, and we ran into a little bit of problem. A lot of weeds.
I don't know.
Good weeds.
I don't know how this.
What's your name?
My name's Tom Richardson.
Okay, well, Pat, I just want to say that with this group, it's almost impossible to be outboard.
We're pretty loose. As I said, there is another spot you can go, but I don't know how it affects the state. But if you go to the permitting website, for the state, you can look at permit applications and the status on them. Now, does the state have to fill one out for their own parks? Okay, so you'd
The
be,
DEQ makes them for.
so you'd be able to look under the DEQ's site, and you'd be able to see whether they've actually requested a permit to dredge it or
Well, I
not.
know that there was talk down at the bait shop down there that they were gonna do some dredging last fall, and it never happened, and I didn't know if this, committee had anything to do with that kind of stuff.
Sometimes somebody might be at one of our meetings who would know that, but tonight I don't think anybody.
Our wood debris removal is an investigation, because we know that there's slab wood
Right.
in there.
Oh, yeah.
But like Kathy was explaining, if it gets over 40%, then likely, there would be some funds hopefully available to do the removal. Whether or not we bring it back up to normal, that grade, I mean, that would be a question.
And it probably wouldn't be at the launch anyway, because they've been dredging that already over the years, so. Most of the wood at Snug Harbor is further to
It's
the
gonna
west.
be, to the south and west.
South and west, yeah.
I wonder if we would have to bring it back up to the grade, like Grand Trunk.
Maybe we'll just have to see if it's even having an effect. My guess is that at Snug Harbor, it might not be even having a bad effect.
Yeah.
They have a lot of sediment over the top of it down there, I'm sure.
And weeds.
Because it's,
Quite a
I don't know why it is,
plant.
but it's more of a vegetative, it's organic.
Well, there's a lot of organic in there, which would create a lot of,
The only places we would take it out is if it's sort of smothering everything and not allowing plants or benthos, any kind of insects or plants to grow or be there. Like, creating sort of like a desert of wood, like a plywood on the lake.
floor.
Yeah, it's like that, that's not good,
A lot of the South Shore is that way.
But it doesn't have to be totally solid like that to have a bad effect, but,
more so the north.
Is there? Off
More
Block
wood along the
58?
north shore of Muskegon Lake than there is in the south. Without question.
No shortage of sawmills.
Why you made your
That's a state park up there, there's, if you call the DNR or somebody, they'd have a better idea what their plans are.
Yeah, I know that they had some plans, but it never, I don't know if they didn't get the money last year and it never happened, so I
Richard,
decided to ask one of those here.
Richard probably knows through fisheries too, what the status of any of that is.
Yeah, there was comments on those, unless they just don't do it for the state park, I don't know.
Are we ready to go on to the Zephyr cleanup and restoration?
They had a call today, a technical team did.
They had a what?
Well, there's a
Conference
technical team group that, because we're doing the Great Lakes Legacy Act cleanup at Zephyr, and so there's a phone call. I was in Lansing today, so I didn't participate today, but I did talk to Mark Loomis, who leads those calls, and, in fact, I sent out an email a couple days ago with the feasibility, a condensed version of the feasibility report, which includes 4 alternatives for restoration. So that's different than remediation. The remediation, we already had a meeting on that, and we liked the alternative they had selected and everything. But for the restoration, that's, Legacy Act can also do some habitat improvements after they take out the toxic stuff. So they can recreate a wetland, and they have 4 different ways that they could do that they've identified, 4 different alternatives. So I sent that out to members of the Zephyr stakeholder group that met to create the vision when we first started the Zephyr effort, and also to a couple of Habitat Committee members and the technical team. So, and those are just a few people that aren't already on the stakeholder group for Zephyr, I guess. Because I'd like to pull together a day sometime before that meeting in June, like the last week of May, and so that we can review the alternatives and discuss it before the public meeting.
And these are really restoration alternatives just for the fire suppressing ditch.
Yeah, for that area, right around it.
Just the lower section.
What,
The 20th or the 21st are the days that I put out to whoever got that email. I think I put out a doodle poll on the plan.
it was
Yeah.
like 12 or 15,
Yeah.
I didn't respond to it because I figured like everybody else.
Well, I haven't seen anything.
What's the
Okay,
public
maybe
meeting in
maybe it's the
June?
23rd too.
What's
Yeah.
the public
They're
meeting?
pulling our meeting a week, our watershed meeting a week earlier, so that DEQ and EPA want to be there, and they want to present all of this
Mhm.
You're talking
restoration.
about June fifth?
Yeah.
Yes.
It would have been on the 12th, but we're doing it June 5th instead.
Well, Susan
So,
Hedman's
you're talking about the
gonna be-
NLWP meeting
Yeah, our MLWP meeting is going to be June 5th
instead of
instead of
June?
June 12th.
And
It'll
that's
be
a noon meeting.
a noon meeting, yeah,
That's a
at
noon
Water
meeting,
Resources
yes.
Institute, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the administrator for EPA is gonna be in White Lake.
Yeah, Susan Hedman.
About that time of day.
You might want
Yeah.
to change your time so you can go pinch on her a little bit.
Well, what time is the White Lake meeting though? I thought that was later.
She's going to be there in the daytime.
Well, maybe she's coming to our meeting at noon.
Well, our June fourth public meeting for the delisting is now gonna be changed because there's an Ellenwood dredging, break wall proposal.
Mm-hmm.
The public hearing is
The long
that night.
one. So it's now on the 5th.
No,
Oh.
there was conflicts.
Oh, okay.
So it'll probably be the 18th or the 25th.
Oh.
But in the meantime, the EPA administrator is coming
The White Lake
anyway?
delisting.
Okay,
public meeting.
not the Ellenwood one, that's still on the.
That's June fourth, somewhere in Whitehall.
June 4th at 6 o'clock on the 4th is the White Lake delisting meeting.
Now it's going to be the Ellenwood public.
Okay, so June
Hearing.
18th is going to be the White Lake
Not for
delisting
sure,
meeting.
it's the 18th or the 25th.
Okay, all right,
We
well, I'll
gotta
wait.
get it out
Get it
to
on the
everybody.
email later.
But
Okay.
Okay.
Susan Hedman is EPA administrator is showing up on the 5th.
On the 5th,
That's
but you don't know what time or anything yet.
probably all day.
Okay.
They
Well,
were the
good for
ones
her.
kind of calling the shot on the, moving our meeting to the 5th. I think, weren't they? Then, wasn't it the EPA
Yeah.
that wanted it
Mhm.
for the
So
5th?
they're gonna be noon?
That's what they want, and
12 o'clock, June 5th. That doesn't mean Susan Hedman's going to be there, just because we're having EPA people. There's a lot of people who work for EPA.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're already gonna be up here, they're just gonna take advantage.
But this is the Zephyr.
yes.
June 5th. EPA
that'll be-
and DEQ
well,
are
that's
going to
Great
talk about
Lakes
Zephyr at
Legislature.
12 o'clock on June 5th, so we can discuss the alternatives for restoration at Zephyr.
And I don't think there's going to end up a lot of discrepancy or discussion on it. I mean, did you see a big difference in the alternatives?
Well, there
Yeah.
is, in
you?
cost,
Yeah.
there's quite a bit of difference.
Considerable.
One of them
I mean,
has
all they're gonna
walkways
do is
and
throw
ponds,
oats
and
on
it's
it.
really cool, you know?
I didn't,
And
I
another
didn't
one
read
is
it that
just
way, but,
The
more
alternative
simple.
they
Recommend
recommended,
number one.
number two. One was no
yeah,
restoration.
one
Number
was
two was
nothing.
oats and one of the grass seeds, and they're gonna allow the seed bank to restore everything.
And
They're
your
gonna
big
excavate.
flock of geese will come and eat all the oats gone.
Well, that's all, the one, the one.
And they're right, I mean, there's a huge seed
We'll
bank
look at it
there.
at that meeting.
For the
Let's wait.
serpentine wetlands and
2020.
all
Yeah.
the
We don't-
other.
I didn't bring it with me.
I didn't read through what it was, how they were
Well, it was
proposing to do it.
$116,000 for the selected alternative.
Okay, so we'll have a
But
little
they're not
discussion.
supposed to select anything until we meet, so.
Well, I think they have their preferences.
They have their
And, you know, it cost match, so I mean, if we felt strongly that we wanted to pick the more pricey alternative, if we
You'd have
really
to raise
liked
some
it,
money.
yeah, we'd have to raise some matching funds somehow.
Well, like I said, we'll have those discussions prior to that meeting,
Yep.
so we can
Be ready.
go in with one voice.
Yeah, it's 800,000 for number 3, 1.5 for
Yeah, got it.
4, and 2.1 for alternative 5.
And that was just on the restoration side of it, right?
Just
Yeah,
like-
okay.
It was 116 to just,
How much is the match on that one? Is it a 35 or a 50?
35.
Jill,
Yeah, 65% federal.
Sometimes they're different. That's
This
what
one isn't. This one is 65-35.
Okay.
And I think, you know, because it is the state, and not a private, like, potentially responsible party type of situation, they're sticking with the 65-35. They're not trying to get the state to pay more than 35. You know.
I think last month's meeting, we indicated we were gonna have some of the bench tests and field test results back, but the last update I saw, which was last week's update, they weren't there yet.
Okay.
They were close. But they did say at the next meeting, they wanna update us on all of that, the STAR and, what's the one, Ozonics, I think.
Yeah.
They said they'd give us an update on all of those different proposals, so. So the upland area they are working on, they're coming up with alternatives that are gonna meet. They did say on the bench test that was, I think in England they were running that one, that it is feasible. Now they're just trying to pilot it and actually do it. So there's still progress being made.
In situ burn.
Yeah.
What Mark was saying.
Yeah, that's the one that they had to send it over to make sure it burns under the right conditions, so.
Yeah, that'd be.
Is that near the oil well that leaks?
No, that's Benner's ditch.
Well,
That's next on the agenda.
it's not close on the surface, but where's the oil go underneath? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Not down in the wetland.
That's the next
wetlands,
topic.
if it's in the peatlands,
Yeah.
and the peatland is too dry, they'll burn too.
Now, Kathy, did we have anything new on Penner's Ditch, or
Well, we missed.
Kim?
Gee, if it caught on fire, we might find out where the well was.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
You don't want
But
it
that
to
meeting
be
is,
on fire. They
but
last
that's
a
only
week.
for just a few days.
I got
so.
2 days, that's
Yeah.
just for a few
Yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And that's it.
Center's Ditch, the last I caught up with it, there's some deal where the, is that oil, gas, and minerals, where they says, we're not interested in this anymore at all. And who was that given to? EPA?
Well, it's not officially given to EPA.
Not understanding,
Well,
I think they're
at a
looking
certain
at-
point, you know, that
yeah,
they were the people who were going to try and fix it.
okay.
And then they said, no, we're not doing
I
it.
didn't catch it.
Ugum.
Yeah, the
Oil, gas, and
Office of
Minerals.
Oil, Gas, and Minerals of your, you know, division, your department there. I thought, wash their hands of it.
Lost faith in it.
Well, I think everybody's still looking at it.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
they've
gotten a
officially
lot
washed their
worse
hands,
out there.
I think they got the soap on their hands, but they haven't washed them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we might be looking at a different direction of how to take care of this. Obviously, we don't want to make it worse than what it is.
Yeah, right.
So,
I think they
and we've had everybody and anybody out there. Anybody who wants to go look, I'm taking them out there. I've had Dan Lyons out there.
Yeah, right.
Everybody and anybody.
Yeah.
So,
sounds like containment more than
It sounds like it's not gonna be
remediation.
a plugged well, it's gonna be a containment situation, it sounds like.
yes.
Yeah.
What Dan said.
Oh, this looks bad.
Good call, Dan.
I mean, you know, I was lucky to get them out here to look and at least get them down there. You know, I've had pretty much everybody out there.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Loomis
That
was
would come right to
out
the
there
top.
last time we were here, and he actually talked to the homeowners, and they,
Yes.
and he told them right straight out, you know, they're saying like, well, you know, if you put a containment here, it's not gonna help our property values. He goes, nope, sure isn't. But nothing's gonna help your property values, because you've got a leaking well on your property, so
Yeah.
nothing we do is gonna get rid of that, or get it
Yeah.
off your deed or your title or anything, you know, it's gonna be there, it's always gonna be there. But we're gonna do what we can to make it as acceptable as possible, and so you don't have to deal with it every day, so.
I mean, you can't say they haven't tried to find it. They've
No,
they've done a
they
lot
put
of,
some-
lot of money into
Yeah.
trying to find it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And that's the
containment
problem.
may be the only option at this point. Did Mark think EPA might be willing to talk containment, or is that kind of out of their?
Here's what I understand the issue will be, is the long-term operation and maintenance. So if we want to see that done somehow, we might have to get creative on how that's going to happen, because neither the state or the federal government wants to get involved in that, and either does Ugum. I mean, they're part of the state, but, you know.
Frustrating.
They would
because
be
they're the
the-
ones
Have their
that
job.
Well,
issued the permits
not
to put them
long-term
in.
operation.
Right.
Their job is to fix
That's
the
right.
problem and
Okay,
have
but
it
they
done and
can't.
go away.
Right.
Their job isn't to clean up something or maintain something forever. So that's a big dilemma right now, so.
Right.
Okay.
Did, anyone look at it as to become a Superfund site?
Well, there's some issues with that because, you know, the person or the people or the company or whatever that caused this,
They're gone.
yeah.
Yes.
And the way it works under OPA or EPA Superfund is you get the bill, whoever owns the land. And you will put
Property
those
owner.
people into bankruptcy.
Not every time, because in Torch Lake, they did all that work up there, that 13.5 million or whatever it was. There, Steve stamp cover, there was no responsible party.
Right.
Now, they're
Who owns the
finding
stamp
some.
sand? Who owns it?
A whole bunch of different people.
And are they all gonna get a bill?
No, not that I know.
That's the part you gotta make sure of.
That's what they were told. though.
Because
They-
the law
they-
says
Says
you do.
The Coast Guard
But
comes
the
in.
EPA
Right.
told
Oh,
them
buy
they
an
weren't
EPA
gonna
bill.
be, EPA give them a buy. They did.
Well, you work that magic for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, work that magic for us, please.
That
Yeah.
should keep you amused for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're short of 80 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to 27.
got deep pockets.
There's
a lot of, there's a lot of money up
Which one
there.
was it?
Molly Dam.
Molly Dam number 4, it was plugged in 1933, and it was opened in 1928. 2,000 feet down. I got pictures. What else do you want to know?
Yeah, what do you wanna know about that?
I've been there a lot.
Where is it?
Where is it? It is on Wedgwood, is on
No,
private
I've
property.
been to the site.
Okay.
Where's the source?
Where's the source?
They don't know.
So that could
It's
be.
so
Then you
far
don't
down.
know everything.
No, I don't know. You're
Knows
right. I
everything
don't
everybody
know.
else knows.
Everything, yeah, there you go.
He knows what everybody else knows.
Yeah.
We can
We
find
know
out.
where it's coming out, but we don't know where it's coming
It's almost
from.
worth trying to put down some exploratory wells with dye, and just start,
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
down.
definitely.
Have they done that?
They just don't even
They've
want to
done
do
some
it.
things, but you start poking around.
All I gotta do is poke a stick down there and it starts generating like, oh, get out of there.
You
Yeah.
could have
It smells so bad.
Jed Clampett comes
Yeah.
around.
So,
There's,
we've
you know how many
officially
wells
welded
that are like
Sharon?
that down below Reese Puffer Elementary?
Oh, no,
We're gonna
that's
get
different,
with her.
but I'll make the question.
All right.
2 or 3 down
We'll
below
work with her.
Reese Puffer
We-
Elementary.
we
And
just-
she wants to listen.
We don't really care how it gets resolved, we just want
I was
somebody
just wondering if
own
someone
the
had done
thing,
that.
get it done.
Yeah,
I will inquire.
that'd be great.
I don't
It's
know.
always nice to have somebody new at the table to,
Right,
Yeah.
take a look at it, you never know. Yeah.
we need a fresh,
Have you ever
we
seen
definitely
it,
need a
Judith?
fresh, set of eyes.
Kim has a lot of pictures, and,
And Tom
I'm
could tell you all about
possibly
it. Tom
a
could tell you
visual
all about it.
person, so I'll need to go there.
Oh,
I
Kim
will
will
take
take
you
you
there, I
there.
have permission to go on the property,
Anytime the
I
owner
would love to
says,
take
come
you
on
there.
down.
Tom Berdinski's been servicing this thing
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
just been changing
He
Yeah.
lives like across
absorbents.
on the other
And,
side of
and
it.
that
Yeah, I
division does
heard
not
that.
want to keep doing that.
No, they don't want to, I
No,
heard that.
and they did that and then kind of maybe got themselves a little bit trouble, but doing it, but they did it because it was so bad.
Yeah,
At least
it
they
goes
got-
right into open water.
Well, you know, I think the mission, as I understood it when I became a DEQ person,
Mhm.
was protection of human health and the environment.
Right.
That was supposed to be our,
Goal.
Model.
our mantra, but I'm not sure, because every division,
But who knows?
every division does things differently, and if it's not within my scope, I can just ask, but I can't make anybody do anything.
Yeah.
I can just ask, whose responsibility is this, and have they
Sure.
looked, and have they, because sometimes it just takes the person asking the right question.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yes.
Mhm.
So please ask the right question for us.
I will try.
If you can find out whose responsibility it is, we will find them.
Well, I already asked, and here's something to research, because I wasn't sure that the answer was correct. If there is a responsible party, and even though they may be gone, wouldn't the bill go to the responsible party over the landowner? Isn't the landowner protected under like polluter pay or something? The current landowner?
I don't understand how all of that works. I've not had to deal with that.
So why would the current landowner get a bill if they weren't the responsible party, and we have...
Superfund goes
Because
after
it's
who
on
owns
their-
it now, and
that's
it's
right.
their onus to go look. And they should have had an environmental assessment
Before they
purchase the property.
Okay, well,
Especially if there's been some kind of
So they're,
industry in the area.
they're,
Well,
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
they bought it in February and
read that all the
25, 30 years ago, no one said anything to them whatsoever.
and
Everything started thawing out in the spring and they went, well, what the heck is
and
that?
who suspects there was an oil well in your
Right.
backyard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do, because I grew up in
Yeah.
spoiled,
Yeah.
well,
I
country, but...
have friends better states, that's why I'm here tonight to see what was going on.
Oh.
I live, up towards the dam, and on the opposite side, on Glenwood, from, where that,
Mhm.
boom is around that, so I see that every time I go in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Does
wonder what's going on with
Does
that.
anybody know if this has been leaking since 1933 when it was
I have no idea.
Nobody knows.
Don't-
It
I don't
seems like
know.
it sounds like it's got
water's
worse.
down.
Yeah, it sounds like
It got worse
over
over
the
years.
time,
It
yeah.
does.
And the water's down, when they,
One of the landowners put a boat well.
when they
and
lived
it
down there, yeah, it's in their
dredged.
boat well, the water was way up and their boat was parked
And
there and they
opened it
never
up.
saw anything, but as the water has come
Right.
down,
Now, how does that affect someone like me that lives on the other side, 200 yards, north of there, as
Are you
far
up,
as
upstream or
liability?
downstream?
Pardon me, up.
Kind of
well,
a
up towards the
bayou,
dam
it's
would be
almost,
north
it's
of-
probably a little bit of flow
I
coming
gotta go
in.
see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Groundwater.
it's, it's like surface water of Bear Lake, it's just a cutout
We'll go swimming
bayou
there.
that's kind of narrow, but there's
I've been
boats
swimming
on both
there.
sides of it,
Fishing
Sharon, and
there.
still plenty of room for
I
navigation in
fished there,
between, so it's not like this.
Tom,
little
how far
cave.
are you up from it?
Not bad.
How far did you say you're upgrade from it?
Oh,
Well, I'm
just
about
ditch.
3 houses
No,
from
it's
the
nothing like
dam
that thick.
on the other
Okay.
side, maybe 4, so I'm a couple hundred yards, up, I don't know if you call it up lake, or upstream.
So we saw kids fishing off their boat, going up and down right in front of the thing, when we were
They're
there
saying, what
last
are you guys
week.
looking at?
Yeah.
We're looking at the oil that took your fish in.
Well,
Yeah,
the
water's
water's
fishing in
pretty
there.
clean in the spring, and, you can see the fish, and we've caught them in there before, but.
In reality, it probably has little impact on your site because you're the opposite side of the body water and the
That water
flow
flow
runs
is
down.
going
So I
that
mean,
way.
Yeah.
realistically, it probably doesn't affect you a lot. It could your property values if this becomes a big public deal. But I was thinking, if you were 200-foot upgrade from this thing, you could be the owner of the well.
that's right,
You know,
yeah.
that we
And it
don't
could
know
be
where
under
the
your
well
house.
is.
That's right, that's
And
right.
you
That's
could,
true.
yeah.
He's on the opposite.
Well, it's on the.
He's on the opposite, so I say you're the
side.
opposite side and you're
Yeah.
upgrade, so it's.
You could be the property owner.
Yeah.
Don't give them credit, you have to send the
I'm out
bill.
here.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad you decided to drop into our meeting.
Yeah.
We won't tell.
But no, we do need to find out some way to get to it, because we keep beating this thing and
I
we
know.
just,
All I can ask, all I can do is ask and report back on what I find out.
Okay, yeah, I was really totally surprised that the DEP wasn't taking care of oil leaking into the water like that.
I'm
The problem
actually
is they
surprised
don't know where
Coast
the well
Guard
is.
isn't.
Yeah.
If Coast Guard
That's
gets
the
whiff
problem.
there's oil out there, they normally are.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
What Loomy was saying, if, once you get the Coast Guard in, then the bill goes to the landowner.
Yeah,
As soon as the Coast Guard comes in, that's what he said.
Yeah, that's why,
we need to find a way to resolve
yeah.
it.
And you're talking $4 million or something.
Yeah.
The landowner's gonna get the bill.
I was,
People who own the house are gonna get a $4 million bill.
I was so hopeful when they would come out to do that magnetic thing. I thought,
I
this is
know.
it. They'll find it,
That's what I'm
but
saying, you don't
They
want
did
to
one of those
do that.
magnetic
Yep.
stem things
Yeah.
down, and they
Yeah.
didn't find it.
they
so
saw
No,
deep.
too much interference from other seawalls and other things
I
that they
thought
couldn't.
they pulled the pipe.
And it's just so deep.
It's
And
a
they did pull
difficult
the-
problem.
The
The
place.
original pipe was
That
pulled.
was not a good.
But it was supposed to detect chlorides, wasn't it? I think that was gonna be the marker they were looking for.
They pulled
The
the pipe
mud
from
and the density and all that
1933.
stuff would have been so
They
deep.
pulled the
Oh,
well pipe.
that's before they understood about
Yeah.
things traveling through the bedrock
Right.
cracks and stuff.
No.
So they knew about
wanted
that?
the pipe.
They wanted
They
that.
reused
Pipe.
the pipe.
They were the pioneers of recycling.
To put it in the next tunnel.
Oh, feeble
That's the way I
man.
understood those.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh, and they never put cement or anything in it?
So the only thing left besides the final public input and all that is Ryerson, really. And, that, project has been moving along with, this public-private partnership, trying to get the match for the Legacy Act sediment cleanup, and, EPA hired a consulting firm to help, with that partnership, and, one of the long-standing partners who's been meeting with us on this for probably 15 years, seemed to be coming along and thinking, hey, maybe if we can get more community partners to help with this, we'll pony up, and then recently it was kind of like, well, so there's a little backsliding on the partnership end.
Not the big one, is it?
Oh, really? Allegheny?
Just a little bit of backsliding there.
But Loomy's got a good speech.
But that doesn't mean we're not working on it. We're still working on it, and
Loomy's got a good speech for him, though.
I'm supposed to do some things
Don't take me down the
recreate the
primrose
partnership
path and
again
then
a little
drop me
bit
off.
and working with, still with
You
ECO,
voted
the
for 'em.
consultants, but we have a new game plan and
For those of you who are new to the group, Ryerson doesn't mean the creek itself. Ryerson is Muskegon Lake, just off the mouth of Ryerson Creek.
So it's all that area from the old Muskegon rag and metal where it dumped in there and then run right on around all the way to the Mart dock. And so that's where
it's
the
just really important
sediment
that, you know, all of the community partners that were convened for those meetings, you know, feel that it's important enough to do the cleanup too. Otherwise, you know, the major players that could really help fund it, you know, they're not gonna think it's as important, for whatever reason. So maybe there's some other ways to discuss it and see if we can't hit maybe on some other priority they may have to do the cleanup or to help fund it.
You said Allegheny?
Well, you know, Teledyne Continental Motors, it's the parent company. They actually have a different name now. I can't remember what it is. It was Allegheny for a while, but it's not Allegheny. They have another name. Or they have a different subsidiary that is actually the one that's dealing with it. So we've been working with them, and they've been coming to meetings and talking to us and looking at the results. And we had a big partnership meeting with a lot of local partners, including DTE and Consumers Energy and Mart Dock and all of our partners, you know, locally, Verplank, and we are all together at these meetings. But you know, then there was some work they had to do as partners, meeting separately, see what they wanted to do, and the last I heard through the consultant who was helping with that partnership, she said, in Vimala, you've met her, she said that you know, we may need to you know, discuss it again with the Continental folks or whatever.
separately,
Yeah.
where you can explain it a little bit firmer.
Mark?
I think Mark Loomis has got his speech ready.
Well,
We got that covered.
It makes sense for them as a corporation to step up voluntarily and contribute to the cause proportionately
You're missing
to.
an opportunity to not pay you for the whole thing.
That's
Right,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is, it's in their interest
And that's
to
probably what
step
Mark
up
was
and,
saying, he says, we have some money to help you right now.
yes.
You wanna play now, or you wanna
Because that,
reach in
again,
your own
that's
pocket
another
later?
65-35 thing, so.
It might be a little more for this
There
one
might
because
be
it is a
50-50.
responsible party, right?
Okay.
So they're talking about maybe a little more, but they step it into it very nicely where you're not committing to doing the whole cleanup. You commit to the next step, you know, feasibility study, you know, the final characterization and design, and then and those are all separate like budgets, you know. So you
So it's
commit
not
to
one
each
big
step at
check.
a time, and you find out what's going on, and then you make decisions together as a group, as a team, you know, and say, okay, well, we like this alternative, but not that one, but we'd be willing to do this much. And then, you know, you finally get some type of a cleanup done that way.
Because Mark's really got the money available to run with this thing right now, right?
Yeah.
Right,
It's shovel-ready, other than the partners aren't nodding the right direction right now.
Well, there's no.
They need to wake up.
Well, it can go right into design though. They've got,
Feasibility.
they did the final remedial investigation, let's see, feasibility.
They had all their
I can't
stamp,
remember.
they've already done all
Alright,
their
yeah.
Or
stamp.
not. Yeah, but they also do,
I
It's
don't recall seeing
remedial
it.
investigation /
but after
feasibility
that,
study.
then what do they call it?
Well.
Because then that final
You're
stuff
at the
is,
pre-design, just like
Yeah.
Zephyr.
Mhm.
Here's
but
a
anyway,
footprint for
it's,
removal. I
you
haven't
know,
seen
it'll
that.
go fast. If they just decide that they want to do it,
I didn't see a footprint for.
let me tell you, it's
removal.
gonna be
I thought we
fast.
saw, not exactly how much you were taking out, but I thought we saw the hits of all of the hot spots.
Yep.
And it would
But
grade it
there was
out
no-
seriously.
I didn't see any sketch that showed here's what we're gonna do.
Well, that's probably the next step, that they have to fund.
But
Yeah.
just that I may have missed
Right.
it, that's what I was.
So is Mark driving the bus on that one, or are
Yeah.
you?
Mark and Biddle and I are gonna talk next week, and, you know, they have professionals contracted with, they're supposed to be good at doing these kinds of partnerships with some expertise, legal, you know, industry experience, and all of that. So, and I don't have that. All I can bring to it is a little bit of the community,
This is what the community wants.
part, yeah, and then the EPA, and then, you know, and then we've also been talking to remediation division too.
For the when they're talking about Mark Loomis, he's the task force lead from the Region 5 US EPA office of Glencoe, Great Lakes National Program Office. And he has some pretty good tools in his box.
Good. Okay.
It's pretty standard with these that I've seen over time, for them to say, we're gonna go, and then they'll back off. Because they say that, and then the lawyers get involved, and then it backs off, and then it seems they simmers down, and then it comes along again. But it's a back and forth thing for sometimes a long time.
I don't remember with the sample results, Kathy, if they were generic enough or specific enough to identify who really was the cause.
They
of it,
are
or-
specific enough.
Okay.
But nobody's really had to explain how specific that
Okay,
is
so
yet.
that's gonna be Mark's job.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. You got the right person doing the right job. Let them explain it to
So
them.
they know what chemicals they use in their process that they found.
Well, the rumors go back a long way from Continental of, the war years where they would have to break those motors in before they greased them and shipped them off to be dropped in. And so the stories go back to the old test rooms. They'd run them for like a 24-hour straight period, then pull the drain plug and the oil would go down the drain and go out to the lake.
A lot of those companies got a buy during the war years, though, for that kind of stuff, too.
Oh, yeah.
To just pump it all into the lake.
Yeah.
That's happened in a lot of ALCs.
So there's a lot of history there that.
Did they get the buy that they could use now, or would that not?
I think it might work for them. I don't know. Because they got the buy. Same thing happened in Torch Lake.
Well, if they could, that's why we were asking, and all the agencies were asking them to come to the table and just contribute to the cause to make it cleaner, rather than
They
hold
continued
their toes to the fire.
Oh, after
up
the...
until they virtually closed, what, in 1970?
Yeah, right.
Oh, see, that's a long time after the war.
Because there was a gentleman, there was a gentleman.
We got a couple wars after that. Yeah, come on, there were wars in between there. They all run together.
Right.
I don't remember when that was.
Lakey's was right there too.
It was
because there
70s
a guy
and Lakey went
that I
down.
worked with
73,
at a foundry.
Or no, they were
Rocket.
68. maybe.
Because Lakey.
No, they weren't that.
Yeah.
There was like before I was away.
30 years. This guy was.
Well, Lincoln Town's building down until.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never found
right.
one, because I haven't,
Building
with all the
was there.
things
They were
around, how they shake out.
If I.
It might be worth inviting more people to the party.
Did we miss anything?
Just public input.
Well, we have public input announcements and other.
Any important dates we didn't include, future upcoming things?
Well, I did get the website updated with the change of the June 5th meeting, and then we also have changes later in the year, too, for September and November.
But we'll send out
But that's,
emails to everybody.
yeah, you'll get the email notice on that. And
Did you get, you got an
SPEC, yes,
No.
I'll do my update.
Oh, that's right. You,
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
that's in July, but
Kim?
that's, yeah.
Kim's got some updates she wants to share with everybody too.
Yeah,
before we-
I've got some updates. Laketon Township here is running an electronic recycling event on June 7th. It is open to the whole county. We are running a tire recycling event. It is 5 townships. If you don't live in one of these, so sorry, you can't
Go
come.
throw your tires at somebody else.
Because this is not a grant.
What do you know?
So,
What
what?
do I know?
I don't know. Who
Which
do you know?
township?
So anyone, well, it's
Everything this
Laketon, Fruitland, Dalton, Muskegon Township, and Blue Lake Township. So there's 5 townships involved in this.
I'm in.
So, if
Any
you're,
size tire?
Bear Lake
Limited by
Watershed and the
diameter.
Duck Creek Watershed.
Any size tire?
any size tire.
Tractor tires.
Well, yep, but they're $3. The oversized tires are $3.
It's a bargain.
And that is nothing to get rid of them. So if anyone would like to use the, actually, the electronics will also take things with Freon in them. We've got somebody who is certified to do the Freon, so we'll take the white goods. There's all kinds of things on the electronics they'll take. I will, yeah.
No, I mean, like,
You can, yes, I'd love you to do that, okay? So there's both sides there, but the tires,
Upgraded things.
you gotta be in those townships.
What about like, computer towers, will they take the hard drives out of them?
Absolutely.
Will they take the hard drives out?
Yes, this company is certified to destroy the hard drives. Okay, they get certification, so we get that back. We would not have anybody doing this that wasn't certified, yeah. And like I said, anything with Freon, they're certified to take that out, remove it, and take care of it the way they're supposed to, so,
Great.
yeah. And there's lots of things that they
Towers
take,
in my garage, I'd like to get rid of.
yeah. So that's the whole county, the electronics is anybody in the county, yep.
25 cents a pound for lead batteries, but a plastic now. And they do take plastic downtown. You don't get paid for it, but they will take plastic.
Mm-hmm.
At which one?
The Fisher patent.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Because I got four cherry tanks that we bring down there sometime. So, 20 bushel boxes is what it was.
Muskegon Conservation District is now on the left-hand side of 120 up
Well,
in Twin
I don't
Lake.
know, I mean, maybe
And
next
they
month.
take dry cells.
I mean, I haven't seen,
Okay.
plus it's in the Upper Peninsula
All right.
too.
Right, but somebody might wanna take their vacation and just,
Well,
Put that
that's
little
true,
hard drive
so
in.
to get a little
The
ahead of
SPAC?
it, yeah,
Oh, it's
SPAC is in July.
16th, something
Yeah.
like that.
Is there anything that
And-
we would-
15, 16.
That's when we know the cherries.
July 15th, 16th, and I think most of you know, I'm the SPAC rep for you guys, and, for the AOC. And so I go to the, you know, all the statewide public advisory council meetings, and we always open all those up to anybody who wants to go, and if we have a workshop especially, we try to get people to go. A lot of times we'll drive together, or room together, and stuff like that. Deer Lake is where we're gonna be this time, which has been your area of concern, right?
It's Stephanie's for a
Not-
while.
Oh, it was Stephanie's. You had it for a while then, Stephanie.
I had everything for a long
Yeah,
time.
well, yeah.
Is this what we do for the UP, is that what it was?
Yeah,
that's what I
the
was-
Keweenaw Peninsula where the Torch Lake AOC is.
Okay.
This is Ishmael
Only
where
in
Deer
Michigan.
Lake is.
Yeah, okay. So you got one for each hand, that way.
St. Mary's.
All right.
Just up the hill from Marquette.
So, traveling is driving.
What's the topic? Is there a
Well,
topic?
they're gonna celebrate their delisting.
They're gonna be delisted.
And
before
we're
Woodland.
still working on topics, so I'm gonna try to encourage them to have things for those tax and the UP with, related to capacity stuff, because they are behind you guys. You guys are like the poster child for good, and they're the poster child for, oh my God.
Good.
You guys, I hold up as an example all the time. You work well together, you've got a whole bunch of things going on, and some of them don't do anything, you know. Some of them don't even meet anymore.
Yeah, well,
But some of them were only formed to just deal with the AOC,
Right.
and our group
Yeah.
is for more than just
Yeah,
the
you're-
AOC,
yeah.
too,
and if
so.
they're
That
going
helps
towards
make
the
people
listing,
meet.
can't blame us for that.
Yeah, we decided that we
Yeah,
wanted to continue.
everybody does what they want. For instance, the Torch Lake area of concern, they decided to become an area of concern, public advisory council, but with their first meeting, they said, we formed to deal with the Superfund stuff. We're just using you as a vehicle. They told me that. And they just wanted to list Superfund and AOC, and they don't care about anything.
What was the, lady's name?
Diane
Diane.
Feller, she was with Deer Lake.
Yes.
I did want to make one comment
She's
too,
still in
Kathy. Windsor did the Asian Carp
Yeah.
Forum. That
Yeah.
was a good event out at Silversides Museum, and
Yeah.
it was informative to kind of bring some of us along in that ongoing discussion.
Yeah, Matt Doss from the Great Lakes Commission spoke, and, you know, he explained how the Corps of Engineers study came up with the figures that it would take to separate the Mississippi from the Great Lakes Basin, and how they included a lot of the cost of just normal clean water practices that communities should be spending their money on anyway, as part of what it would cost to separate the Great Lakes from the Mississippi. And so the Great Lakes Commission looked at that, analyzed the Corps of Engineers study, and said, you know, a lot of these costs they have in there really are costs of doing business separate from what it would cost to separate. So that's why the Great Lakes Commission believes it would cost much less to do the separation. But they also have keyed in on the Brandon Road point as being a good place to be doing some type of technologies now that would prevent the carp from, you know, reaching the Great Lakes, reaching Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So
Nothing
that's,
else, it gives them a chance to know whether the electric barriers are going to work,
Mhm.
because it's
Yeah.
miles downstream, and
Instead of
they haven't made it
doing,
there yet.
instead of doing 5 different locations near Lake Michigan, move downstream and do one. That's what they're talking about.
They run 2 barriers,
Yeah.
and they run them alternately, this one and this one. This one on, close, this one on. So even if, there's still a chance. They can't run them steady. There's some reason why they can't run them steady.
Yeah, but they're talking about sonic bubbles and
Oh, yeah.
CO2 and all kinds of.
You don't want those
Not
guys
physically-
here, they can get to 110
It's not
pounds.
physically separated.
Yeah.
They eat 40% of their body weight per day.
Well, their,
Wow.
their biggest reason not to do a physical separation or to propose it is because of City of Chicago.
Right.
They
Yeah.
can't handle it. They, yeah,
Well, their
sanitary,
drinking water is
they can't
sanitary.
handle it,
It's
so.
never
Yeah.
been brought up to standard.
No.
And that's where,
Barely-
that's what
Right,
this study.
that's
was
right,
showing.
that's a
But-
good example.
Yeah.
discharging to Mississippi River allows dirtier water than discharging to
Great Lakes.
Lake Michigan.
For you
Yeah.
fishy types,
Oh, here we go.
one of our extirpated species that's no longer here is the Great Lakes spotted muskie. And, some of us have been diddling around trying to get some muskies here for probably 12 years or more. And, first we didn't have broodstock, and then we had broodstock, and the broodstock had bacterial kidney disease, and, it was an awful mess. About 3 weeks ago, Muskegon Lake got its first plant of 1,500 muskie fingerlings, Great Lakes spotted muskie fingerlings.
Great.
Yeah.
There's
job.
one out of, Wisconsin, I think. Is that what-
Yes, but Wisconsin originally got them from Michigan.
Where did they release them?
Comes around.
Where did they release them, Wayne?
A number of places, Boy Lake.
You could probably be on
I
the
think
Gilliam.
Causeway.
Nice.
Nice.
Very good.
All right.
That was finally all done with the DNR Fisheries Division's blessing.
What they don't know won't hurt them.
We didn't hear
Because I
it
knew
here.
there was a little controversy.
Why did you ask that question, Kelsey?
I thought it probably did get the blessing, because I knew that there was a lot going on for many years on this, but
Well, they did test and okay the health of the fish.
okay.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Well, it's, no, they didn't.
It has to be part of the
They kinda did
management
it.
plan for the Muskegon River to do that, and if they were planning to do it already at some other place or time, then it's sometimes.
These are healthy
you know.
fingerlings. Other than that, we kinda did an end arounds, but that's it.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
That's
Well,
right.
we're all gonna be on YouTube anyway, so
Yeah.
it's all gonna change.
Yeah.
Erase that part.
I got it, yeah.
Anybody have anything else?
I had a couple other things I was gonna say, but I'm not gonna, because we're
Don't
gonna
say
change.
it. I gotta go home and pack my car.
Was that bad?
Well, I was thinking, is there gonna be a public, do I get a chance to say anything, or are we gonna? Oh, I got you, okay, good.
So we're
Okay.
doing.
I'm a little amazed at this thing, the way it rolls and rolls and rolls. I got about 2 or 3 hours on that already. I normally wear this in the car when I'm driving to work in Grand Rapids. I've been wiped out a couple of times. I thought, next time I'm gonna get it on YouTube, you know what I mean? It'll be spectacular. But, isn't that crazy? Hours and hours and hours it'll record on that thing. The battery will last forever. I'm just amazed, technology. So anyway, thanks for letting me, attend. I gotta tell you, I'm really, really surprised and amazed at what you're doing. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect this. This meeting is so well attended, and you're all so busy, and you do work together so well. I had no idea. Our newspaper's a little tiny thing, and I try to go online, and I get all these ads that pop up, and you click one, and you get a virus, And so, I don't know what the heck's going on around town, and I visit your website, and, I've had trouble. And I am pleased, I noticed that, the thing had improved since I, complained. I hate to be a complainer. But, the calendar is very nice, and it works, and then tonight, I didn't expect it, but the roster, is up to date and stuff, and I see that there's that the minutes and I had noticed that there were no agenda meeting minutes or something, except for like back in 2010 or something, and so I know you're working on that. Anyways, you know, I didn't come in to complain. I came in because I had some questions, and one of them had to do with the webpage, you know. And just like you said, there's groups around that don't do anything. I didn't know you did anything here, really, you know, because I don't see it anywhere. And so, like I say, I'm really surprised. But when I started to hear right away, I saw all you people and talking about all the doggone things you're doing. I just wanted to help, and I was thinking, I am a programmer. That's what I do for a living, you know, and web apps and stuff is my forte. And so I was wondering if, you know, you're having trouble with a website or something like that. Maybe there's something I can do. I'm always busy, too busy really to take the time. You know, I mean, I've been working on an app, volunteering for this guy since August in my spare time, but I could do that for a cause like this if you needed help with that. And the other thing I was wondering about, see, one of the things that Roger and I are pretty serious about is getting actual news out. And so we attend things that, and put them online in their entirety without editing and stuff like that. We don't take marketing funds, and so we're not swayed one way or the other. And so if there's any way that we can help you get your news out, we'd like to help with that too.
Well,
You bet.
Yeah.
Especially this time of the year with the spring cleanups.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of hands-on events in the spring, so.
The Zephyr meeting, oh, that's June 5th.
Yeah, and probably some of the reasons that maybe the website's not always quite up to date is because we're busy doing.
You're working,
this stuff.
right, yeah.
So sometimes we get a little behind on updating the website, admittedly, but, you know, just because we're just a bunch of volunteers trying to do this stuff.
I understand,
You know?
and I don't want to take the group's time to find out exactly how that gets done, or even that if I am able to volunteer somehow to contribute to that. But I am interested in that.
We have a webmaster that we pay, and it's just a matter of us getting stuff to that person.
Right,
And that's the
our
only reason
problem.
stuff doesn't get updated right away is because
And the
might
former
not always get
secretary
there right away, you know.
was having some issues about getting minutes for a little while.
Yeah.
We've never
We
put
haven't-
our minutes up, though. We've
No, I
always
know,
put
we
agendas,
haven't.
most of the time.
Yeah.
And the website's fairly new, actually, relatively new, I'll say, compared to the group.
Right.
And we probably spend more time updating our Facebook page and our Facebook group
Yeah.
with
Oh.
things that are
We
happening.
actually do have a person who does that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we have a
Catherine
volunteer
Twice,
who
she's a
keeps up
volunteer,
on
but-
that.
Yeah.
And then anybody can
Probably
post
keeps
to
up
it,
on
'cause
that,
it's an
but-
open group, it's an open
Oh.
page, you know, like you can, public can post to that. Mark and Catherine and I have, you know, management rights or whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah.
to
We try to keep things,
Clean?
well, no, we try to keep things relative to Muskegon Lake, because sometimes you'll have somebody who start putting recipes on there.
Oh,
and they're
right, yeah.
They're very, you
I
know,
see.
okay, we're in some
Those are
meeting, well, it's under
standard
17 recipes.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, we don't want people going on there putting all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff on the website, or on the Facebook
Yeah.
site. We try to keep it pertinent to what we're doing, you know?
Very good, very
We've
good.
had, it's been broad enough. We had last fall, I think it was, we had somebody, I don't know, I'm not sure who it was, but they just kept posting shoreline trail pictures, shoreline pictures.
Oh,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
that
yeah.
person who, what was his name
I don't
again?
Captain, somebody, or?
No, not
no.
Captain.
No, it was the one with the pretty colored,
And they were-
you
yeah,
put one
yeah.
Muskegon on it and all of
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
yeah,
and-
we
and
didn't
we
know
never
who it
knew who it
was,
was.
but.
But there were a lot of
But things
photos.
like that, we wouldn't take.
And
down.
I got you,
If
yeah.
it relates to,
They were
if it
good.
relates to Muskegon Lake and our work, then we leave it up, but if somebody starts putting crazy,
Yep.
not that there was anything wrong with those recipes, but they were just, but then our important information is just pushed so
I know
far
what you
down
mean.
that you can't,
Yeah, right.
nobody sees it, you know,
Right.
so we try to keep that.
Especially
Keep it
if
clean in
something's
that
just
way,
about to
you know.
come
Yep.
up and we're really trying to get people
Relevant.
to the cleanup, say last Sunday. There was something that was posted there that would have been fine to leave it up there. I felt bad, but I took it off because I wanted people to see that we
Yeah.
had a cleanup 2 days from that
I
day,
got
you
ya.
know?
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
I
I
just
know, that
removed it
always
from the
happens.
timeline, you know, 'cause
And then too, I mean, is it the kind of, I don't go on it nearly often. Well, the thing is, when Catherine posts something, I get it in my inbox, my email inbox, and then I don't go to the site, but is it the kind where, like, if an administrator posts something, it shows, and then if somebody else posts something, it's over here?
No, it all goes.
Okay.
I see everything on
Yeah.
my phone, so I
So
don't know
that's
if
why
it's
we have
different.
to
Right.
sometimes, I mean, we
Yeah,
haven't had to
maybe,
do that very often, but as she said,
Yeah.
it just happened recently where, you know, the cleanup's in 2 days and it started getting pushed down where nobody.
Yeah.
Pops up
Yeah.
as a discussion, I
And
think.
that's the important stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We try to keep it.
So there is a group and there's a page, both, and there, you know, so.
Thanks, yeah. Well, there's one other thing, and it's just a kind of a general open-end question, is that any news at all on SAPI? See, I work out of town, and I'm all the time, you know, running the race and stuff, and so I'm kind of out of touch, and I just wondered if you had any news at all about SAPI.
Just that we still are on the schedule for the EPA mud puppy to come and sample this year.
I see.
So,
in
and,
the water.
In the
yeah,
water.
I see.
sediment, underwater sediment. That's the only thing that we've really been dealing with primarily with this
Because,
group is
Yeah, we haven't
looking
done
at,
it for the site itself.
has the stuff gotten in the sediment offshore from the property? Is it down there? Is it harming anything? What are the levels? Is it toxic? You know, all that kind of stuff. So EPA is coming in to do some sampling.
That'll be that Mark Loomis they were talking about.
Did you know that we had a SAPI meeting?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I was there?
You were there.
Oh, I did, I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
We did SAPI, then we did Zephyr, and then we did the
Large
perception
meeting.
research guy
Yeah.
last month. So we've had just big presentations one
But
time.
Thanks.
the other thing with SAPI, I mean, it came up at that meeting, in fact, I think it was Roger who asked about it, is that they put off the demolition
From Stag.
indefinitely, right?
I don't know if it's indefinitely.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
until-
that's what you hear?
Well, as far as imploding it, but that doesn't mean
Right.
they can't take it down
Oh,
a different
okay.
way.
They need
Because
to,
like
figure that out.
they need to approve the methods before they can
Well, like
take
the
it down.
cod plant tower, they're gonna take a big machine up there and cut it, a section off and lower that section down and then go up and put it up there
Which
and cut the
meeting
next
were you at?
Because they're afraid that,
Crane.
Because it gets too big to drop and,
that would be.
so they're gonna take it off in
Or did you,
sections.
the last meeting they had, they said they aren't sure yet whether they can take it down because there's so many agencies that are telling them that
Well, that
What
was,
kind
that
of
was
tower
the,
is this?
it's a big concrete,
The big consumer
Tower.
center, GBC cod plant, huge smokestacks.
it's a monolithic core.
Yeah,
That's
right.
that was formed from the
Smokestack for an old
Foundation.
Once you
Oh.
see that, then I know, because there's a lot of
You can
different
see it
things.
from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's different things associated with those. There can be arsenic in there can be mercury in there can be a lot of things. But if you implode it, it's gonna
Well,
put it in the air.
Right now, their restriction isn't so much on the environmental, it's on, FAA uses it for navigation, for visual.
Oh, really?
The marine industry uses it for navigation, for visual.
Well, that's
I
important.
think you should
So
just
they
take
have
a
to
big
get all those
lighthouse out of
agencies
it.
to sign off before
Yeah,
they
right.
can even think of taking it
It'll
down.
be a tourist attraction.
It's gonna become the White Pine.
No, well, we talked about the largest lighthouse, and when I first talked to the folks about that idea, the largest lighthouse in Michigan type of thing.
Yeah.
They said, no, we're taking it down, we're cutting it and doing the craning and all of that,
Well,
but.
they get no sense of humor.
Sounds like maybe they won't be
I
able
think
to
it'd
do
be a
that.
great-
Maybe they'll go
it'd be a
back and
draw.
think about that lighthouse.
If they leave
Why
it,
don't
they have
they,
to put a restaurant
we
in
can
it.
go up
Right,
there.
But they
right.
also
That would be
have
good.
that kind of